Okay, and again, I just want to say thank you to everybody who's joining us this evening for Dr. Eric Crawford's presentation. Eric Crawford holds a Ph.D. in musicology from the Catholic University of America. His research focuses on the rich tradition of Gullah music, specifically the retentions and alterations occurring since the antebellum period. Beginning in 2007, Crawford conducted extensive field recordings on Saint Helena Island, site of the historic Port Royal experiment, and his transcriptions are held at the Folklife Center at the Library of Congress. An outgrowth of this work was the Saint Helena Island Gullah Spirituals Project, which brought together noted scholars and students in the study of the earliest recorded Negro spirituals. In 2013, the Athenaeum Press? Athenaeum Press at Coastal Carolina University published his field interviews in a CD and accompanying booklet entitled Gullah, The Voice of an Island. His work on historic Sandy Island led to the 2017 publication of At Low Tide, The Voices of Sandy Island. This booklet and interactive multimedia project highlight the rich history of Sandy Island and the need to ensure this island's continued survival. In 2018, Crawford spearheaded the grant-funded Gullah Geechee Digital Project, which digitized more than 6,000 historic records from plantation journals, musical transcriptions, and contemporary oral histories. In 2021, he appeared in Henry Louis Gates's miniseries, The Black Church, This Is Our Story, This Is Our Song, and was a music consultant for the Amazon miniseries, The Underground Railroad. His books include Gullah Spirituals, The Sound of Freedom, and Protest in the South Carolina Sea Islands by the University of South Carolina Press, which was published in 2021, and Gullah Culture in America, which was published by Blair Publishing in 2023. All right, Dr. Crawford, thank you again so much for agreeing to do this. And let me make you co-host now.
Okay. I'm happy to be here. And I've oftentimes caught these wonderful monthly Zooms. Sometimes I would be coming home from church late, and so I'm happy. But it's always been some wonderful speakers and information, and so hopefully I'm able to review some of my older information that I've shared and what's happening brand new. Okay, so I'm going to try and share my PowerPoint. Let's see, would I go to share screen? Let's see, window, let me see here. There I go, and share. Oh, I probably need to also share sound, right? Is that gonna be possible?
Yeah, you should be able to.
Okay, all right, let's see here. Okay. Let me see here. Or did that first or not? Let's see. Let me try it again. So I'm gonna share this and share. So can everyone see that or not? Has it come over yet, or is it still sharing a window?
Yeah, I can see it. Everybody else?
Everyone can see it? Okay. I'm just curious if I can do my sound now or not. I don't see the. Let's see. Okay. So let's see. How would I share my sound? Typically, there's a. Let me see here. All right. So hide that. Let's see. Let me try a sound file right now, Wendy, and see if you can hear it. I'm just going to do here, see if it's going to be.
The younger people right now, they don't know how to raise those hands.
Is that audible or not?
Yes.
It is?
Yeah, we can hear it, yeah.
Okay, all right, good to go. So let's begin. All right. So this is me, I think. That's go past that one. These are four singers. Three of them are singers that have I've been working with probably now for 12 years now. And these are singers who each of the three of them, one's 89 years old, one's 87, and then one is 79. Rosa Murray to the right is 89. Her son, Charles Brown, is the youngest person at 72. To his right, your left, is Minnie Gracie Gatson, who's 79. And then to far left is Joseph Murray, Dickin Murray, who's at 87. And the Murrays and Miss Gatson, all three of them learned the songs from their grandmothers, which is important because if they're in their 89 years old, if you go back 2 generations, now you're in the 19th century, which is a critical time when most of these songs were first recorded or transcribed. Here is Deacon James Garfield Smalls. He's the original 4th member, and he was the oldest one. He died at age 100 about 4 years ago. And I like to always begin with his voice first because that's really a person who began my journey, and he learned from his grandmother. Here is Deacon James Garfield Smalls talking about the importance of the younger generation learning these songs.
The younger people right now, they don't know how to raise those hands. And sooner or later, next generation will know anything about it. Yeah. And those hymns come from the slavery people. He had hard time working so hard, and he hummed those songs. And the raider come by and hit him and put him to work. And you start using different tunes, and the tune would suit that song the best. They use that tune. Then they say, well, we're going to use a common meter on this one, or maybe a short meter on that one, or maybe a long meter on this one. Oh, she's done know the road, oh, she's done know the road, oh, she's done know the road, young lamb must find the way.
So that final song that he just sang, old sheep done know the road, the young lamb must find the way, really is kind of sums up this whole, for me, my journey of trying to find a way for those who are younger, those young lambs, to find this music, their heritage. This is a song that he was most known for, In That Great Getting Up Morning. And I'm going to just play a bit of it before I continue. This is James Garfield Smalls doing In That Great Getting Up Morning.
In that great getting up morning, fare you well, fare you well. In that great getting up morning, fare you well, fare you well. In that great getting up morning, fare you well, fare you well. In that great getting up morning, fare you well, fare you well. I'm going to tell you about the coming of the Savior, fare you well, fare you well. A day or another day are coming, fare you well. Fare you well, oh, when my Lord spoke to Gabriel, fare you well, see, go look behind the altar, fare you well, fare you well.
And so as you saw that song, you know, the words changed slightly over the years, but that transcription that you saw was about the 1880s, and so it's amazing how they've kept these songs going. Here's an image of where they're all from. Saint Helena Island, Beaufort County, South Carolina. And it's a beautiful place, and it's a place that's fighting for its land, as developers would love to come there and build golf courses. There are, in terms of the Gullah Geechee culture, there are really 4 states that are part of this culture, and many of you all probably already know this, but it goes from North Carolina down through Florida, along the coast, and 30 miles inland. And it's called the Gullah Geechee Cultural Heritage Corridor. Now, the beginning of the songs that I've come to study really begins on this battle of Port Royal, which is really the first major battle of the Civil War. During this time, you have the Union Army that's bombarding these Confederate outposts. And as a result, many of the white slave owners will leave their plantations, leaving about 10,000 now newly freed enslaved Africans. Lincoln has a decision to make. What do I do with these experts at growing on the island something called long staple cotton? And so he kind of makes an agreement with them. One, we will educate you. If you keep growing this cotton, you can also buy land for the first time, which becomes very, very critical. These are some of the very first Black land owners. During this time, as you get these white teachers coming down for the school, which became known as the Penn School, it's now called Penn Center. As they were coming down, and these teachers some of them were pretty good at music, they began hearing these songs. And luckily, they were able to take down and write down notes. This is really the beginning of what we now call Negro spirituals. The book was called Slave Songs of the United States, done by William Francis Allen, Charles Picard Ware, and Lucy McKim Garrison. Songs are from there, some of you will probably know. Songs like, Soon I Will Be Done with the Trouble of the World, okay? Or, Nobody Knows the Trouble I've Had. It was had then. Michael, row the boat ashore, please. Many thousand gone. Whose side you leaning on? Out of the wilderness, getting out of the wilderness, out. All these are familiar Negro spirituals, but very few people know where they have come from. And again, they came from the Gullah Islands here, Saint Helena Island to be specific. Here is a transcription that I made of Whose Side You Leaning On? Whose side you leaning on? The response is, leaning on the Lord's side. Whose side are you leaning on? Leaning on the Lord's side. Whose side are you clapping on? Clapping on the Lord's side. Whose side are you clapping on? Clapping on the Lord's side. Of course, I can't sing. I'm sorry about that. Those who hear me sing, please forgive me. Typically, it would be Rosa Murray who would be singing the song for me. Here is Nobody Knows the Trouble I've Had.
Okay, now, Eric, before you get started, are there people that need to be admitted into the Zoom?
I can't tell. Let's see here. Let me escape and see if I can. Let me see here. Let me see. It says, I don't see. Let me go here. I don't see. It says, no. Yes, it does. Random factor. Forgive me. Oh. I'm sorry, Randall.
Yeah, I hated to cut in on you, but he had just messaged me.
That's all right. That's all right. It's a good time. I just try to sing. Great time. All right. So am I still sharing? I believe I am.
Yes, you are.
All right. So here's a song called Nobody Knows the Troubles I've Had. On the islands, it went like this. Nobody knows the trouble I've had. Nobody knows but Jesus. Nobody knows the trouble I've had. Glory, hallelujah. Now, that's not how we now sing it, but that's how it went initially. So somebody brought this song from the islands, because oftentimes those on the islands went to school at Hampton. So this got transported up to Hampton, Virginia, and the choir director there said, nobody knows the trouble I've had. It shouldn't be going up like it's happy. It should be coming down. Nobody knows the trouble I've had. Nobody knows but Jesus. So that's why we now sing that song, Descending. Initially, it was nobody knows. It was going up. And that shows you how songs change oftentimes. It's interpretations. And so now the islanders themselves have forgotten how their own song used to go. And here is the new version by Hampton. And in fact, even in the Hampton version, they say in the very first line, this song was a favorite in the Sea Islands. So we had the slave songs book, but there were other people who suddenly came to the islands after they saw the slave songs book. They began doing their own recordings of the islanders' music. Valenta Taylor from Sierra Leone, Carl Dryden, Society for the Preservation of Spirituals. All these groups were coming there because of these songs. And here's the image of Nicholas Valenta Taylor from Sierra Leone. Now he came in and found even more songs, and songs that I think you probably will recognize even more of these, like Down by the Riverside, Down by, or Glory, Glory, Hallelujah, or Every Time I Feel the Spirit, or Let Us Break Bread. I mean, these are just very familiar songs here. All that were first transcribed, found on the islands here. It's extraordinary. And not just the transcribers. Everyone, I hope, has heard of the Fisk Jubilee Singers. These were really the first singers who popularized these songs by taking them on the concert stage, dressed in tuxedos and long dresses. They would sing these songs in a very formal manner. If you look to the far right gentleman here, George Bonwell, he was actually from Charleston. And he was really one of the, Benjamin Bonwell. He was one of the first real leaders of this group here. And a song that they had made popular was called Many Thousand Go. To the left is their version, Many Thousand Gone. To the right is the slave songs version, Many Thousand what? Go. Because the enslaved wouldn't think of a past tense of go, gone, went. It simply is I go, I have go, I have go. And if you look, the slave songs is kind of interesting how they put titles. They would put the proper title oftentimes at the top, Many Thousand Go. If you look in the actual score, the enslaved couldn't say the H sound. They would say Many Thousand Go. And so, though we oftentimes have these very formal titles, if you look closely, they were trying to transcribe what they were hearing those enslaved sing. A note about Fisk singers. A trustee at Fisk wrote down this little passage here. I'm not sure why he did, but it kind of describes how he forced these wonderful singers not to sing in their own language. He says, they have been educated out of the peculiarities of the Negro dialect, and they do not attempt to imitate the peculiar pronunciation of their race. Even more, they did not attempt to imitate the grotesque body motions or the drawling intonations that often characterize the singing of great congregations of the colored people in their excited religious meetings. So they forced them not to sing as they wanted to. Tragically, a lot of the Fisk singers would die and would never get back home to the campus. Here is a very important place for song making on the islands. It's called a praise house. If you look in the image, it's spelled Praise, but actually the older singers like mine will say prayer house. They went there to pray. And so they didn't mean praise the Lord. They meant to pray. So actually the proper spelling is Prays, praise house. Within the praise house, a small structure, they would do the most iconic West African tradition that has survived here, the ring shout. This counterclockwise movement here, that you could shuffle only, you couldn't lift your feet off the ground, and you couldn't cross your legs or you were dancing. That a good Christian can't dance now. So they would shuffle counterclockwise. We think counterclockwise because of this Congo cosmogram, the sense of a circle of your life, of being born, of living, of your death, and then reincarnation. That full circle right there. And to the right, they would clap this clave pattern oftentimes, which goes like this. That fundamental West African pattern was for the females. The women would do that. The men would have a longer clap. So women clap, the men clap. And they would keep those patterns going. Now, in Georgia, they would use a stick for those patterns. Saint Helena Island, they would use their hands or feet because drums were banned in South Carolina and Georgia. I will now play a popular ring shout song called Adam in the Garden. And again, it comes from the Bible. And again, the enslaved would hear these Bible texts either read to them by their owner or in churches. And they would go to the praise house and they would take little bits and pieces, creating their own songs. Here is Minnie Gatson doing Adam in the Garden, picking up leaves.
Oh, Eve, where's Adam? Oh, Eve, oh, Adam in the garden, picking up leaves, picking up leaves. Adam in the garden, picking up leaves. Satan mad and I'm so glad. Adam in the garden, picking up leaves. Missed the soul he thought he had. Adam in the garden, picking up leaves. Said, oh, Eve, where's Adam? Oh, Eve, oh, Adam in the garden, picking up leaves.
Now, notice that she's not saying picking up leaves. You know, again, this traces back to West African Creole. In the Gullah language, there is no difference in singular and plural nouns. So it would be 1 leaf, 2 leaf, 3 leaf, 4 leaf, 5 leaf. And so she will always say, Adam in the garden picking up leaves. And we'll talk more about the language as we go along here. And another ring shout dance was the only ring shout dance that's kind of a singular one, in which you have this one finger in the middle of the other dancers, and he'll pick up this handkerchief that's on the ground there. It's called a buzzard lope. It's a very rare one there. And this kind of talks about, and the song says, throw me anyway, Lord, in that old field. Throw me anyway, Lord, in that old field. The enslaved is commenting about when he's dead, he's simply thrown in some field like cows, and buzzards come and eat on their bones. So that's sort of the backdrop, kind of a dark backdrop, but a very honest one of the enslaved who's commenting, complaining about how they've been treated even in death. Another ring shout song is called A Neva Lookade. It's probably the most Gullah sounding one that we have. Joseph Murray sings this song, and it's very interesting. In fact, I'm going to play it and then stop and ask you all what these words mean. Dickie Murray, A Neva Lookade. All right, so let me just pause it. Does anyone know what a neighbor look a day means? A neighbor, a neighbor, a. This is one of those field shouts. A neighbor, probably, look a day, look a bear. You know, then he'll say, day clean. Does anyone know what day clean means? It's a good old Gullah word.
Yeah.
Day over.
Yes.
It's the dawn.
Yeah.
We in our Afro-Seminole Creole revitalization program, for Wendy and I and a lot of us, it's like our favorite word. So
It is.
Yeah.
It's morning. And so this was done during typically a watch night or Christmas when you were waiting for that next day to come. And they would say, hey, look, it's now day. It's now the next morning there, which is kind of fascinating there. A very, very popular song there. Again, a neighbor look a day. A seminal figure in terms of the language of Gullah is, of course, Lorenzo Dow Turner, who did field work, 30s. His book came out in the 49, Aphorisms in the Gullah dialect. And he did a lot of work, especially on a song called the Mende Song. It's the longest surviving African text to have survived the transatlantic slave trade. And if you look at, and he was able to find this family, a Moran family that was still singing the song. And if you look at the transcribed, and this came after his time, Joe Opala and Cynthia Smith came there. He's a sociologist, I believe. No, he's a historian, and Cynthia is an ethnomusicologist. They went to the Moran family. They took down, they record their song, and they went to Sierra Leone. They knew it came from Sierra Leone. They had a Sierra Leone linguist who says, I believe that's from Sierra Leone. And they went village by village in Sierra Leone, trying to find someone who knew the song. And that must have been simply amazing. Well, they found a village where someone knew it. And if you look at the Gullah version that they had kept, compared to modern day Mende, it's amazing how much of it survived. It's extraordinary. And that shows there's something about a song, you know, like a Barney song, I love you, you love me, you know, that will always stay in us. We remember the words, where we were. And I believe this song has such a meaning because the women only did this song. And typically it was washing clothes. And they would sing this song, or it was a game. And as they found out later, it connects to, unfortunately, to death. When women would wash the person who has died, their clothing and their body. And so this was a very famous song here. And here is a transcription of the words, and also here is what the words mean here. And I'm going to put this into, I did that. I can't believe I did that. But here is the translation to those words. It says, come quickly, let us work hard. The grave is not finished, not yet finished. His heart is not perfectly cool. Sudden death cuts down the trees, borrows them. The remains disappear slowly. So again, it was a funeral song there. There's another story, most of you probably know about the Igbo landing. It's where the Igbo, this is in the 19th century, early, I believe. And you had these Igbo who were chained, who were kind of forced on the ship, kind of tricked to get on the ship. And then they realized when they get almost to St. Simon's Island that they're going to be enslaved. And so as they go on to the land, a chief stops them and begins singing a hymn. We don't know what the hymn was. We do know from an account from a white planter that the words were something like, the water brought us, the water will take us home. Imiri Wetanrani, Oga Klarani La. And so as they began singing this hymn, they turned in their chains and went into the Dunbar River and to their death. This is one of the most haunting events probably in the Gullah culture. It's one that kind of shows that the Igbo, who were known to be, who would oftentimes resist, being captured or enslaved, would choose death than to be a servant. New things happening. I always love new things here. And so I'm currently in Atlanta, facing that traffic. Oh my gosh. But I'm here because of 4 grants. And many of the grants are focused on going back to the Negro spirituals when they were first transcribed. Oftentimes, those who are transcribing did their best to capture the Gullah Geechee Creole language, some better than others. But with the help of Joe Opala and Emery Campbell, who are Gullah experts, we're able to go back and backtrace how the enslaved would have spoken or sung these songs. For example, Carl Diden, who was an intellectual, transcribed the singing of Joseph Blanton, who was a teacher at Penn School. And he transcribed Blanton singing this: "I've got a home in the rock, don't you see? I've got a home in that rock, don't you see? Just between the earth and skies." So that's what Blanton sang, probably. Now, the melody might have been accurate, probably so, but the words certainly are not. And so we asked them to put these into a Gullah, into more accurate Gullah. And then we asked a world-renowned arranger to arrange these new versions for the Morehouse Glee Club to perform. Let me first show you what the words are in pure Gullah. "I've got a home in a rock, don't you see?" becomes what? "Me have home in the rock, UNC. Me have home in the rock, UNC. Oh, I forgot the other one. That one's going to be just between the earth and sky. Then me have home in the rock, UNC. There's a 4th verse that says, "Heard a mighty rumbling in the ground, don't you see? Is me yeti, mighty rumbling in the ground, UNC." Yeti means to hear, of course, heard. "Me yeti, mighty rumbling in the ground, UNC." The first words were "must be Satan passing round" becomes "must be Satan the pass round." And then the ending line, of course, is "me have home in the rock, UNC." We just received a version from the arranger of this song. Here is how the Glee Club, this is the first page now, how the Glee Club will be singing. And it's exciting because this is really the first time that we're going to have really authentic Gullah being applied to Negro spirituals. So the Glee Club had their first rehearsal yesterday. I come to the building today, and the students are just, I mean, they're on fire. "We love the song, it's great. We love Gullah." I mean, they were just over the roof. And I think partly because they had come in touch for the first time, or in contact for the first time, with their language. Further along here, probably for the past 2 years, I've been enthralled with this connection of, and as someone said, there were some enslaved Africans who were never enslaved. They found a way to find freedom, these being the Black Seminoles, as you all probably know. And so as they trekked through, to Florida, up to Oklahoma, down to Texas, and then some to Mexico, we have Nacimiento de los Negros, birth of the Black people, as you already know. And this wonderful figure, I'm going to go past this one here, Lucia Vasquez Valdez. And I remember getting 10 songs that she sings. The very first one, it stunned me. My gosh, she's singing Gullah. It's called "This Little Light of Mine." I'm sorry, the last time. I'm sorry. So as you hear her singing this may be the last time. It's a very popular song in Gullah Islands. And so I heard the song. I thought, oh, that's neat that she's singing a song that I've heard before on Saint Helena Island before. But then the next song, it became a little more of an issue. The second song. Now, to hear this may be the last time, I thought, well, okay, maybe that's a song that they heard somewhere. But Stay in the Field is a rare song that you would never hear except on certain places of South Carolina, in particular on Saint Helena Island. And so that became even more intriguing. And then I'm gonna escape that. I had another song by Lucia. So I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to stop sharing and then go to that here. So I'm going to stop sharing. Here's a song that she does. It's called Our Father Who Art in Heaven. It's the Lord's Prayer song. And here is, yeah, I think I can get to it by, let's go, can I do my screen share? Let's see here. Go to Windows, is it there? Let's see. Let me see here. Here it goes here. Okay, go back here. Yeah, I think I can get to it now. Let's see here. Here we go. Let's see if I can find it, the window here. So this is a song, my Windows. Let's see it here. Windows, entire screen, let's see. Microsoft F. Here it goes here. So this is Lucia singing the Lord's Prayer.
Oh, what in heaven, our Father, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. Hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. Hallowed be thy name. So our Father.
Our Father who art in heaven, our Father. So I've only heard that song on one occasion. And here is the other occasion. It came from a film called To Live as Free Men. And it was a film, 1942. And I'm going to show you that now. This is Our Father, 1942. It's not a great film, audio, but it does kind of show you where we're coming from. This is was captured by someone named Silver. This is Our Father, Penn School Center, Saint Helena Island, 1942. Now, to hear two songs that only come from one part of South Carolina, to hear her sing them is extraordinary, which implies strongly that somehow her descendants might have come from that area there. It's something that is, you would never, those two songs are rare. And we only have a few instances of hearing those songs. What's neat is, even in that Lord's Prayer, they kept very similar, hallowed be thy name. That became very important a refrain. What's neat is if it was a descendant from Alicia, they would have come before the recording, which means probably her version is more accurate, which is even more, I think, extraordinary right there. All right, so I'm going to get to the last part. Let's see here. Can everyone see the Kumbaya? Kumbaya?
Now it says John A. Silver Pen Spiritual Recordings.
Okay, gotcha. So let me stop sharing that and get back to my, yeah, okay. Thank you. Here we go. So here. So this is we do a song Kumbaya. It was actually Kumbaya, which simply means come ya or come here or visit me. The earliest recordings were in 1924. It's a song that's probably the most popular, iconic song that we have. And again, part of my projects now, we try and do contemporary versions of these songs. So here is my arrangement of Kumbaya for class and choir. And it's kind of a gospelized version of Kumbaya or Come Ya. I'm trying to move it along a little bit here. You hear that clave pattern? So that was kind of a gospel version. Lastly, I'll go to these next slides in about 2 minutes. These same songs that were effective during the slavery period also became a century later effective during the civil rights movement as freedom songs. Songs like "I'm Gonna Sit at the Welcome Table" became a song during the sit-ins at these counters. Or songs like, again, "This May Be the Last Time," which seems to be a song that was the most popular song to have survived. People will tell you in Brackettville or Nacimiento how important this song is, probably because of the simple message. You know, the time that we have right now may be the very last time. The civil rights movement, it was really fear of being killed, and they would sing this song, very much so. And of course, the important "We Shall Overcome," another Gullah Geechee song. So these are books that I have that talk about these. You can get you can use your camera on the QR code, and have a final image of the singers that I discussed who are very important. The 5 of them: Rosa Murray, Joseph Murray, Minnie Gatson, Charles Brown, Lucia Vasquez Valdez. All right, I'll stop sharing. Thank you. I hope I didn't take too much time.
No, the opposite. So are you open to a few questions?
Yes.
If anybody has some?
Yes.
All right, if anyone has any questions for Dr. Crawford, feel free to ask. You know, while we're waiting, there was one question that I thought of. I had never thought of the Fisk singers. Who was their audience? Who were they singing to?
Again, white patrons who had money,
Mm-hmm.
and it was thought by their white choir leader thought it was important that they sing a certain way, of course.
Yeah.
And they were forced out of their own singing. Of course, it made money for the school, all the above, and fame, but their own personal lives were nearly destroyed, and the songs were changed forever.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, go ahead, Gabriel. I was I was just gonna riff. No, you go ahead.
Your question about the fixed singers was really important, I think, because I had never thought about that either. It's like, who were they?
Yeah, who was the audience?
Who were they singing? Yeah, and I guess that was the first time I realized that it was primarily like white people with money as opposed to. This was a really fascinating presentation. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge. I had a question about sort of like double meaning in some of these songs. Like when I first heard This May Be the Last Time, I'd only heard the melody before as Wade in the Water, and it wasn't until I heard those recordings that I'd heard it as This May Be the Last Time. And there's a few other Gullah songs. I heard one this week for the first time on a Spotify playlist called I think it's something similar to Wade in the Water. It's like, I'm gonna wade in the water to my knees, or I wade in the water to my knees. And it talks about like, go ahead.
Yeah, right. When I fall on my knees with my face, no, that one, or is it a different one?
It's by let me hold on. I have it pulled up. I'm sorry. Okay. But I guess my question was, do some of these songs, it's I Wade the Water to My Knees, and the version that I've been listening to is by the McIntosh County Shouters.
McIntosh, right, McIntosh Shouters.
Okay. McIntosh, yeah, sorry.
Okay.
So some of these songs seem to have like, obviously the spiritual meaning, or like, imparting wisdom about life, that it's transient, it can end whenever. But you mentioned that some of these may have had meanings related to the Underground Railroad or to escape. Are those... So like This May Be the Last Time refers to life is short and unpredictable, and we never know, when God or whoever's going to call us. So this may be the last time. But could it also be a reference to, and this is something I've always wondered and never really known where to ask, but like, could it also be a reference to this may be the last time because we might be running tonight, or you might be running tonight?
Right. So, I remember growing up in school, we spent forever. Ever came to Black History Month, it was spirituals and the codes and everything, The enslaved were brilliant people who could simply take any song and change a word or two and make that a new message. And so, there's a story of Harriet Tubman and her favorite chariot song, and she changes two words, and they all know, okay, it's time to now move. And so they could easily, because they all knew the same songs, right? So if I change this may be the last time at 2, this may be the last time at 2, they all knew, okay, there's a new word right there, and that means at 2 o'clock or whatever, so 2 o'clock, but they would know what that would mean. And so any song they would take was fair game for any kind of a message.
Thank you. Yeah, that's nice. Mm-hmm.
Oh, by the way, in terms of messages, Let's Break Bread Together is probably the first real example of Muslim. It says, when I fall on my knees with my face to the rising sun, oh Lord, have mercy on me.
Yeah.
So we know that there are Muslims who are probably forced to go to church who were doing that song as well.
That is so cool. And that was actually going to be my follow-up question. If there weren't other, are there like vestiges or traces of Islam? Because there were some people who still practiced well into the late 1800s on the islands, if I'm not mistaken. And so if there were traces in the music of that, and that's awesome. I hadn't even, I heard that lyric, but it didn't occur to me that like that is how, that's not how Christians typically pray.
Yeah, and each church would be built a certain way, so it would kind of face a rising sun. It's very interesting. But yeah, there's a famous Balali Bible, or this Bible, it's like his book. This is someone in was it Sapelo? Up in Sapelo, but he's writing, and it's Islam, pure, and he would wear a certain hat, and so. Well, I always assumed that they were all Christian, but no, there were many who were Muslims or didn't go to church at all. So they had everything there. Or those who are practicing those spiritual things, those hoodoo men and those things too, which are always, in fact, oftentimes you can be a Christian and still believe in those spiritual, in the spiritual world too.
And the Mende song that you were talking about earlier, I believe there is a documentary out about it. Do you remember the name of it?
Language You Cry In.
The Language You Cry In.
It's extraordinary.
If anyone wants to see that, I believe you can look it up on, I think I remember seeing a website where you can go and I think pay a small fee to watch it.
I think so, but it used to be, if you search, I think it may still be on YouTube.
I wanted to say that, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, it kind of comes in and out.
Yeah.
But you can see Mary Moran there with, I forget her name, Jabari or Jabai, and they're side by side singing their own version of a song. And it's
incredible.
Extraordinary, that sense of, everyone knew that, and I think someone said that the person who has left has now come back.
Yeah, it's incredible. And I think, well, I mean, you've been working with music for so long. What do you think it is about music that it's almost like we don't work to maintain it in our heads and hearts, but we do anyway? Like, is it because of the rhythm or?
Yeah, I think, a lot of these songs, for those who have maintained it, were learned when they were small.
Mm-hmm.
And they have always had these songs. And of course, it helps that they all rhyme, This may be the last time. This may be the last time. This may, and so that helps. And repetitive, of course. But in terms of the Sia now, that's different. You've kept a song that's over a century, maybe just 2 centuries old, whatever it's going to be, and you don't even know what the words mean, and you still sing it. That's extraordinary, because you understand somehow that I must maintain this culture.
It's so important.
Yeah.
So
important.
Wendy, that's where I would take the only exception to what you just said. You may not remember it in your head, but you do remember it in your heart.
Yes.
And I think that those ancestors, definitely that's where I was coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible to think, how many miles went into a whole other country, yet kept this, these songs. And what one lady said during Seminole Days, her name is Connie, she said that there were a lot more songs that they used to sing, but the songs in Mexico have become so sacred that they only sing them at deaths, so they don't get to sing them that much. So they are kind of losing the songs because they aren't being sung in the quantity. They only sing certain songs.
Yeah.
So she said, she knows about 8 songs, but there were more.
Yeah. And it's someone called the survival of the fittest. It's those songs that most resonate with either an occasion, death, birthdays, wherever they are, that survive, because you have to always, okay, this is the birthday song, this is a song for funeral, this is a song for whatever. Those survive, where the other ones, oftentimes will kind of go.
Yeah.
That's why in the Gullah culture, the songs that everyone knows are the communion songs, because every month you had to do communion. Sissy would do, the song called "Oh the Blood, Oh the blood done signed my name." Everyone knows it. Or the song "Let Us Break Bread Together on My Knees," or the song that was banned because people didn't want to drink. It was "Drinking of the wine, wine, wine. Drinking of the wine, oh yes, my Lord. You ought to have been there 10,000 years. Drinking of the wine." So all the Gullah people, I don't care where they are, they all know that song. I was talking to students at some school in New York, and the girl said, "Your voice sounds like you have an accent." I said, "Well, do you know the blood, drinking of the wine?" She said, "Yeah, I know it. Drinking," and she started to sing it in New York. So, we tend to think that these are just the islands, but as you know, they move everywhere, and they carry those songs with
them. Good evening. I had a real quick question. I'm Anton over in Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay.
I had a question for you about Move Daniel.
Yeah.
I got some ideas, because I also do some other things. And I'm thinking that might be like about movements with knocking and kicking. I'm thinking that it might have because some of the lyrics in the song is pointing to movements that's related to capoeira.
What now? Related to what?
That's related to capoeira.
Oh yeah. Capoeira. Yeah. Well,
so,
I don't know about that part, but I do know that, and hopefully I'll write on this eventually. You know, whenever you hear accounts about these songs being done, you always hear things like, yeah, there were groans and moans and sounds like that. You know, and we don't tend to think about that, but oftentimes the enslaved Africans wouldn't do words. Just be a vocable or a grunt or a stomp. Those are things that we don't know about, you know, but we do know that was part of the whole process there. You wouldn't just move, you wouldn't just sing, it would be a grunt, and that's why scatting becomes so easy, because that's always part of the culture, those vocable sounds, because sometimes words get in the way, but a moan and groan don't, or movement, you know. And I think especially in Georgia, where that song was done, Boo Daniels, they had a stick, and they had these shouts who were just phenomenal. And they would do, with some constraints, they would do these songs. There's a shouting song called, In the Mire. It talks about in the mire, you're in the ground, you're in the dirt. And they have one person who's on the ground, and the other circle and press them down into the mud almost. And that shows you that physical nature of some of these songs.
You know, you had said earlier that they had taken the drum away from the enslaved Africans, and that in Georgia they used sticks, and in South Carolina they clapped their hands.
Right.
So the clapping of the hands, that wasn't a problem for, you know, the people that took the drums away?
Well, you know, the drums were talking, of course.
Yeah, they could be heard further, right? Yeah.
And the drums had different tonal levels, you know, high, low part. And so enslaved brilliantly also found ways to have different clap tones, so they could still speak. Here's my bass clap, alto, soprano. So you can still speak through the hand, which is extraordinary. Bessie Jones did a great YouTube video when she's talking about the different clapping tones and how they can still communicate, which is the other thing that's brilliant. But of course, the hand claps don't go as far as the drums. Yeah.
I'm going to go off on a slight tangent here, but I think it's related. You know, I'm originally from Florida, and there's certain things you carry with me. Since I've been up north, I've only met one person who can out ham bone me, and he was from the islands. That brother could ham bone.
Ham bone, that's right, that's right. And those sounds that we can't really capture, but we knew what was happening, which are all part of that process there. Yeah, And as kids, I remember trying that. I can never do it, but it's just extraordinary how they were able to take little and make so much.
Yeah, well, this brother Hambone, I almost threw in the towel. I said, okay, that's it. He was good.
Yeah, yes, indeed. And I think for me, it's so extraordinary seeing students who are encountering their linguistic or their language for the very first time, and understanding why they say stuff like yo and mother and children. And they hear those things, don't know why. And it connects, yes, I have a history, a valuable past that's here.
So does anyone else have any other questions? Well, I think that's it. And
I have one.
yeah.
Yeah. thank you for the canopy recommendations. If someone were to, because sometimes I want to learn more about Gullah music, and I'll just hit up YouTube or Spotify. But I don't know like who's curating the playlists on there, and like, do you have even if it's a piece of physical media like a CD or even a record or a cassette? Do you have like if someone wanted to hear one source for Gullah music, is there one thing that you would recommend or?
Oh, there's so many, but I would start with the Bessie Jones and the Georgia Sea Island Singers. YouTube them forever. Okay. Bessie Jones, Bessie Jones, Georgia Sea Island Singers. Right. Okay. Now, I think now they're on the YouTube. My CD, Gullah, The Voice of an Island, is now on YouTube free, which is scary because it should be paying for, but it's free now.
I did see that a while ago.
I know, it's up there free. That's another story. The Macintosh Shouters have lots of songs that are also on YouTube. I'm a YouTube person. And those are very good. I will start with that. I did a new project with the Smithsonian. It was on the Bessie Jones songs. It came out, I think 2 years ago, 2023. That I went through. It was a concert she did. It was Friends of the Old Songs, or Friends of the Old something. And we captured her. They captured her in the 60s. And so I was asked to hear all the songs, figure out who was singing what, put it in Gullah. But it's a beautiful CD. It's like Friends of the Old Time Music. It's called that.
Very cool. You might have to start a Spotify playlist.
I know. I have Spotify. Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, just whenever you have some free time.
Whenever that is.
Yeah. Just whenever you get around to it. Well, Dr. Crawford, thank you so much. I knew this was going to be amazing.
My pleasure.
Of course, you exceeded my expectations, even knowing that it was already going to be amazing. Oh. And yeah, I just feel like we're walking away with so much information. I was taking notes, and yeah, there's just so much to go off from just this talk that you gave. So I'm glad you cut it down now, because if it had been longer, it would have been a lot more. But thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Crawford.
Thank you so much. Thanks for being here, and it's been an honor, a pleasure, and thank you, Wendy, for this opportunity and this wonderful service.
Well, you're locked in with us now, so anytime, anytime we do anything,
guilt by association. You're stuck.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so thank you so much, and let us know about any other performances coming up. Mm-hmm. I would love to let everybody know, if they're in the area, to go and listen. Yeah. Or if there's anything that you're doing virtually, let us know. Too.
Yeah, and there's a big event, November the 21st, in which we're going to unveil these new songs with the Morales Glee Club, and we have all of our shouting groups there. It'll be in Atlanta, so it'll be a big concert there. I hope it'll be streamed. I'll ask.
Yeah, let us know. That'll be amazing.
Okay.
Very cool. All right. Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining us this evening. It's great to see all of your beautiful faces, and thank you. Y'all could have done anything, but y'all were here with us this evening. So thank you. And until the next time, y'all take care.
Take care.
Peace.